Top news of this evening, Harden to the Cavaliers, yet another photo shot for the man with the biggest beard.
From Utah, and then the Cavs swooped in and made the deal. Fakes, drive, gets inside, pull-up jumper, got it! Scores. Brunson, three-pointer, puts it in! Brunson with Harden on him. Brunson on the drive, the floater, bank shot, it's good! Brunson brilliant in that fourth quarter. Drives, gets past Harden, gets inside, the floater's up and good!
Kids at home, if you want to see what the word quit means,
oh, come on, Chuck.
to give up. The verb of that is cavaliers.
Oh, come on.
This is what you see.
You think they quit or the Knicks are just that good right now?
No, they were down 29, Kenny.
When it comes to the Eastern Conference over the past 4 years, one team that stayed consistently competitive and honestly pretty scrappy is the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by Donovan Mitchell. Looking at their regular season track record, they've always been right there near the top of the East. At worst, they're a top 5 seed every year. But the real question with Cleveland has always been this: is Mitchell actually a true #1 option and a championship-level leader? And if I'm keeping it real, Mitchell is a very good player, borderline top 15 type talent, but not quite that guy you trust as your lone superstar in a title run. Because time and time again in Cleveland, this team has fallen short when it matters most. Take 2023, for example, his first year there. They had home court advantage against the Knicks in the first round and still got completely exposed, losing 4-1 in an ugly exit. Then in 2024 against the Celtics, same story, another 4-1 series loss, and he was even dealing with an injury after Game 3. Fast forward to 2025 and it gets even worse, rock bottom for Cleveland. They finish as the #1 seed in the East with 64 wins and still get blown out 4-1 by the Indiana Pacers.
Do you foul here immediately if you're Rick Carlisle?
I do. Oh, my goodness.
There's a steal. Halliburton steps back and hits.
After that loss to the Pacers, the Cavaliers front office clearly felt like something had to change. They needed to shake up the core and bring in fresh energy. And the big move ended up being shipping out Darius Garland. Now, Garland is a solid player, but he was also being labeled a James Harden-type playoff performer, with a reputation for struggling when it matters most. From the Cavs' perspective, this move looked like straight-up desperation, because when you really break it down, Garland is probably not that true championship #2 option. And if you bring up Harden in that conversation, everybody already knows the history and what comes with it. So now, looking at this Cavaliers group overall, even after making a run to the Eastern Conference Finals, it still feels like they've come full circle in a way, just like 2023 where they got completely handled by the Knicks and Jalen Brunson.
Brunson the drive, left-handed off the glass, what a shot! Brunson drives on Strus, gets into the paint, running layup is up and good. Brunson gets free, fakes, goes inside, lays it up and in.
For this Cavs team, making it deep into the postseason, it honestly felt like they stumbled their way into the finals. They got fortunate multiple times along the way, especially against teams like the Pistons and Raptors. And for teams at that level, talent-wise, they barely got past them. Because real playoff contenders don't usually play down to their competition the way Cleveland did in those first 2 rounds. Against weaker, more flawed teams, they kept repeating those same issues over and over again. But when they ran into the Knicks, a team that's rolling, disciplined, and well-coached, they got completely exposed. And it wasn't just one area either. Offense, defense, execution, chemistry, across the board, Cleveland got outplayed in every single aspect. And here's the deeper problem that's been showing up for a while now. This Cavs team has no real identity, no true it factor at the foundation. Look at their star players. They don't really connect, and they don't elevate each other the way a contender's core should. One game they look sharp, the next they look disconnected and inconsistent. There's no edge, no consistent toughness, nothing you can really hang your hat on. Meanwhile, look at the Knicks. They're not perfect, but at least you know exactly who they are and what they stand for. With Cleveland, it's hard even to answer the basic question, what is their identity? Is it an offense, defense, late-game execution? Because nothing has been consistent enough to define them. Even after this playoff run, that question still hasn't been answered. But one thing that does stand out is this: when things get tight, this Cavs group tends to disappear, just like in Game 3 and especially Game 4 where they completely folded under pressure.
Because there's getting your ass swept right out of the playoffs, and then there's whatever the hell happened to the Cavaliers.
Bridges drives alley-oop, and Robinson with the two-handed slam.
And for Mikal Bridges, you don't see.
Alvarado tries a three. Towns on the flush. It's another Nick avalanche.
That somehow to me feels much worse than just a mere sweep. The Cavs didn't just get swept. They got, I don't know, vaporized.
So in games 3 and 4, that Cavs team basically stopped competing. They flat out gave up and looked like they stopped trying altogether. And then you've got Donovan Mitchell, their leader, or at least the guy they're supposed to rely on. At this point in his NBA career, it kind of feels like he is who he is. Don't even just look at his Cleveland run, go back to Utah too. Because after his rookie season, every single year has ended with him falling short of expectations in the playoffs. Take 2019 for example, a 4-1 loss to Houston, another gentleman's sweep. In 2020, they were up 3-1 in the first round, but still collapsed. Then in 2021, they were up 2-0 on the Clippers, but lost 4 straight, even with Kawhi Leonard missing the final 2 games. And then 2022 was rock bottom. Against Dallas in the first round, they lost 4-2, even though Luka Doncic missed 3 games in that series. And one important detail people always bring up is that young Jalen Brunson completely outplayed Donovan Mitchell in that matchup.
That's what you have to do in that situation. When you're giving up size, you have to go out there and come out there with the right type of energy.
Brunson ahead of steam. He barrels in deep and scores! 40 points tonight. And there's 41.
If you're trying to pick one so-called all-star who gets exposed the most when it matters, it's Donovan Mitchell without question. Looking at his playoff resume, there really isn't much to point to at all. And one trend we keep seeing over and over again is him getting outplayed by guys people say he should clearly be better than. Case in point, Jalen Brunson. Brunson, unlike Mitchell, has always been doubted as a true #1 option, never really given that superstar label early on. But what he does in the playoffs is different. He consistently rises to the moment and overperforms when the pressure is highest. Now, when you talk about underachieving, James Harden has to be in that conversation too. And in this playoff run specifically, Harden has been very up and down, extremely inconsistent from game to game. At 36 years old, he just isn't reliable anymore. He's efficient at times, but the turnovers, the defensive lapses, and disappearing in big moments are still there. And honestly, most NBA fans already know exactly what James Harden brings at this point. So it's not about beating a dead horse, it's just reality. James Harden is who he is, and that version is not really changing anymore.
Harden, that pass. Trying to challenge Cunningham. Cunningham's going to win the battle with a steal. Scoop it up. Thompson can fly. Shot clock at 7. That last foul on Towns, he's got 2. McBride.
For someone like James Harden, even at his absolute peak, I've never really seen him as a true championship-level centerpiece, and that includes his time as a second option in Cleveland, the Clippers, Philadelphia, and Brooklyn. I'm just not a believer, especially when you look at his play style. It's way too inconsistent, and at 36 years old, that reality really hasn't changed. Now, to be fair, Harden does deserve some credit in this playoff run, because at times he was actually the most entertaining player to watch. But the problem is, you never know what you're going to get from him night to night, quarter to quarter. One possession, he's throwing up an air ball on a wide-open 3. Next, he's turning the ball over, falling near half court. Then you get the step-back foul baiting that somehow still ends in a turnover. And then, just when you think it's stable, he does something completely unpredictable again. This playoff run for Harden honestly felt like a mix of chaos and comedy all at once. If you had to pick a defining moment, it was probably Game 1 against the Knicks at MSG, because in that fourth quarter with a 22-point lead, they completely collapsed and wasted a massive chance to go up 1-0 in the series.
Schroeder to Mitchell. Mitchell catches, fires, hits a 3.
5 minutes later.
Anunoby floats it over to Shamet. Shamet a three-pointer. It's good! Brunson with Harden on him. Brunson on the drive, the floater, bank shot. It's good!
So James Harden in this series, and honestly across the entire playoff run, just had pretty poor offensive production overall. And defensively, he didn't really show up either. But here's the real angle nobody's talking about. Donovan Mitchell on the defensive end. In my opinion, Mitchell wasn't locked in defensively for most of games 1 through 4. When you look at the Knicks matchup with Mitchell as the primary defender, they were scoring at a very high clip against him. They shot 23 for 42 when directly at him, which is almost 55%. And Game 3 was an absolute disaster defensively. Knicks players, specifically when guarded by Mitchell, went 12 for 12 on 14. I say that again, 12 for 14.
Offense during this winning streak has been operating on all cylinders as OG Anunoby.
This is that rub cut they love to run with Brunson on the baseline where Karl Anthony Towns becomes the pass.
Back to Brunson.
And that shot will be there for Mobley. Stepped into that one with confidence.
To Towns. Jared Allen gets inside. Bridges gets inside. Another beautiful pass. Right back to him. Pass inside deflected by Towns. Sloppy turnovers. Oh, what a pass from Anunoby.
They're trying to get Donovan Mitchell or James Harden in action.
Brunson the drive, left-handed off the glass. What a shot from Jalen Brunson. Brunson fakes, drives, gets inside, layup, he banks it home.
So once again, when you look at that Mitchell and Harden duo, it's clear it just didn't last long at a high level of success. And like we kind of expected, it all came crashing down fast. They got swept, and everything just went completely off the rails. Game 3 was a straight-up fourth-quarter collapse. Game 4 was even worse, honestly, a complete embarrassment and a bad look for the Eastern Final stage. And when you zoom out on the whole core, the big question becomes, who do you even trust on this roster? Mitchell isn't the true number one you can build a title team around. Harden isn't a winning playoff player at this stage. Jarrett Allen is solid, but he's not a star or superstar. Evan Mobley just doesn't show that real edge or killer mentality yet. And top to bottom, including the coaching staff, this Cavs team has major flaws everywhere you look. So after that Game 4 loss, it really feels like the end of an era. Mitchell's time in Cleveland looks like it's basically running out, because when he's your number one option, your ceiling is limited, and when Harden is your number 2, that ceiling drops even lower. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.